I am Will Tigley. I will be the moderator for tonight. I am a volunteer with Mabuhay Calgary, one of the city's Filipino newspapers. The first round will be 2 minutes for each candidate to present their platform and introduce themselves. Born and raised in Calgary, he's a business professional and community leader. He's run a large nonprofit and has become Canada's first tenured professor in nonprofit management at Mount Royal. He also has a background in corporate strategy, having worked with McKinsey Company and his own company, Ascend Group. May I introduce Naheed Nenshi.
Thank you, Will, and thank you, everyone. It is so great to be here talking to all of you here in my neighborhood. What Will didn't say in his introduction is that I grew up in this neighborhood pretty much on this block. Spent a lot of time growing up as a kid at the Forest Lawn Public Library, a few wasted Saturday nights at Rollerland, and what Will didn't say as well is a whole bunch of wasted Saturday nights in his own family's basement. So I also grew up within the Filipino community here in Calgary, and I'm just thrilled to be able to be sitting on this side of the table with all of you. Immigrants and native-born people, we built a city together where a kid from Northeast Calgary has the opportunity to succeed as much as a kid from anywhere else in the city, and I think that's something we can be very proud of. But I also know that we can do a lot better, that this city can be a lot better. The good news is that I think we as Calgarians have already figured that out. It's just our city council that hasn't. So my campaign is based on 3 themes. The first is sustainability. We need to build a city that is socially, environmentally, and financially sustainable. And we need to be able to make some very serious changes in our patterns of growth to make that happen. The second is that Calgary needs to be the best place in Canada to start and grow your business. And we need to make sure that the City Council helps that. And the third, finally, is that we need to fix City Council. And make no mistake, friends, City Council is broken. This is a council that wastes its time on the wrong things and spends our money very, very badly. It requires someone from the outside to fix it, but it also requires someone who understands the issues very well. I've spent years studying this council. I bring the experience we need, but I also bring the fresh voice. And just think, how exciting is it that we are sitting for the first time at a place where a kid from Northeast Calgary just might become the mayor of this city with your help. Thank you.
This next candidate considers himself one of the political mavericks. He has been a provincial PC MLA and a 2-term Calgary alderman. He has licensed financial credentials with over 30 years as a small business entrepreneur. He owns the award-winning Casablanca video store. May I introduce John Lord.
Good evening. Magadang Gabi. Ako ay wasaya no makita kayong lahat. I hope I said that. Anyway, I am very pleased to be here, honored to be here actually, and I want to congratulate all the volunteers and Will and Mabuhay Calgary for putting this on, but mostly I want to congratulate all of you for being here tonight and taking an interest in our city in this election. So thank you for being here. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight. Obviously 2 minutes is not enough to even get started, so I would strongly encourage you to go to my website and find out what I have done and what I'm working on and what I hope to do for you in the future and get your feedback on that. So it's at johnlord.ca, and I would encourage you to do that. I think my candidacy is pretty simple. You will find that my work in the community as a volunteer over 30 years, my work as a small businessman for over 30 years, my work in politics at 2 levels of government, and all of my initiatives have all been about family, building community, and building the economy, and building and helping to build our great city. I said my track record is what I stand on. You will find in any election that talk is cheap, ideas are a dime a dozen, but I would strongly encourage you to think about looking at the candidates' track records for the proof of what they can do and have done and will do in the future. My platform is pretty simple. It's actually quite complicated in many ways, but the simple concept is Triple E City Hall. Efficient, which means doing things right and not wasting your tax dollars and doing things in a proper manner. Efficient, effective, which is doing the right things. And ethical, which means doing it for the right reasons. Thank you.
Our next candidate was unable to attend, but filling in for him is Bev Longstaff.
I'm not Wayne Stewart, but I want to introduce Wayne Stewart to you. He's not able to be here tonight because his mother is failing and she is in Ontario and he had to go and visit her. So he sends his regrets and he sends me in his place. And I tell you, I'm a very poor choice. But let me tell you about Wayne. Let me tell you who he is. He's a farm boy, learned how to work as a team on a farm. He's a chemical engineer. He has an MBA. He has run a major project within a big company. He worked at Shell. And then after serving in that corporate world for many years, he made the choice to switch to the not-for-profit world. He ran the Calgary Foundation. He ran Homefront. He ran the Calgary Homeless Foundation. He was instrumental in making huge changes in all those organizations. I find myself in a unique and interesting position. Unique because I have worked with and know almost all the candidates who are here. I was an alderman for 12 years and a candidate for mayor myself 9 years ago. I know how the city works. I know how governments work. But, and this is not easy for me to admit, I do not believe I could do this job today. This is a complicated, a complex, and extremely challenging time for us. But Wayne Stewart can do it. He's a professional, he's effective, he's smart, and he's the guy who can get things done. He's who we need.
Our next candidate is a community advocate in Calgary, supporting a wide range of causes. Most may know her for her coverage for the news for over the past 20 years. May I introduce Barb Higgins. And you go.
Salamat. I'm Barb Higgins, and many of you might know me from CTV. I left the station a number of weeks ago. I'm the latecomer to the race. And it's a real pleasure to be here with you today because just earlier today, we released what we're calling our policy framework on our website. It's barbhiggins.ca. There are 7 points that I am committing to moving forward with as Mayor of Calgary. And I'm just going to touch on the top 3 points because people have been really curious about what I stand for. As a journalist, I've had to stay very neutral, and many people say, I don't know what your politics are or where you stand. So today was about releasing where I stand. And the number 1 priority in our policy, in my policy framework, the number 1 priority is fiscal responsibility. A lot of taxpayers have been very upset with how money has been spent over the last couple of years at City Hall. And there's been a frustration with that. And I think what's happened is that there has been a breakdown in trust. So my number 1 priority is to get back to a climate of fiscal responsibility to redevelop the trust. The audit situation also created a breakdown in trust. So I think City Hall has to build back that trust with taxpayers so that you can trust that your money is being spent on priorities that are important to you. And I say that because I can say that these are my priorities, but the reality is it's what Calgarians' priorities. And Calgarians are making it very clear that you want your money spent wisely. So I am reflecting back to you what your priority is. The second priority is public safety. That includes policing, fire, and EMS. They form a special category. When the big budget debate was up a couple of weeks, thank you.
With over 25 years business experience from nonprofit, corporate, and entrepreneurial business sector, he is currently Alderman of Ward 6. May I introduce Joe Connolly.
First of all, I want to thank the community. I'm Alderman Joe Connolly, by the way, for the Baron. I think it looks great. Thank you very much. I got it a couple of weeks ago when we were celebrating the flag raising, and it's great to be back. I think when you want to talk about candidates and evaluate candidates, you want to know what is their motivation, what is their qualifications, and what kind of results have they done. I'm the only candidate that's worked in the 4 corners of business before I got into politics. I worked for small and medium enterprises. I worked for blue chip organizations like TELUS. I was a successful entrepreneur, and I also worked for Tourism Calgary, where I traveled North America promoting this great city. When I think about my results, I've had many great results since being on council. I've been responsible for bringing forward many things with some of my peers here, like Rick and Alderman Hawksworthy. $1 billion of new infrastructure, $1 billion for Ward 6. That includes the West LRT, $61 million for the new tunnel, or the trench on 17th Avenue, $8 million for the West Side Rec Center, $10 million for the Signal Hill Library with another library on the way, 2 interchanges, a new fire station. I championed athletic fields throughout the city. There's been many, many things. I helped bring the X-Bull Red Fighters to town, but I also delivered on common sense by voting against the pedestrian bridge, by voting against the $11 million purchase of the Cecil Hotel, and against the 3-year budget. When you look at my platform, it's really simple. It's a great city for everyone, especially our children, because I think we've fallen behind and forgotten about our kids, not providing them with the activities and recreational centers they need. We need to get Calgary moving again, because the traffic management congestion is ridiculous. And the last one is, we need to run the city in a more business-like fashion. On October 18th, vote smart, vote for results, vote for Joe Conley. Thank you.
He is a venture capitalist and owner of O Hotel Suites. This is his second run for mayor of Calgary, having come up second to Brian Kanye in 2007.
Kamusta kayong layout? And thank you for coming. The way to make Calgary better is in 3 key areas: making our communities matter, ensuring bureaucratic and fiscal responsibility, and personalizing services at City Hall. To make our communities matter, I will allow community associations to make decisions that affect their own communities. Don't all of you want to develop your own Filipino facilities and create your own Filipino festivals? I'll ensure that you have the power to decide what happens in your own community. The second way to make Calgary better is to ensure bureaucratic and fiscal responsibility. Accountability and transparency are the most important things for us to know where our money is spent. City Council members will be responsible for departments within the bureaucracy. That responsibility will include budgeting, mediating conflicts, and ensuring departments have guidelines. For example, in tendering contracts. Calgary will be managed under zero-based budgeting. Each city department will have to justify their budget every year. The third way to make Calgary better is by making all of us feel like customers and to involve our city employees and unions. City Hall should be a one-stop shop for Calgarians requiring government services. We will train staff to resolve issues right away and also train them to help people navigate the maze of federal and provincial services. I'll make it easier for Calgarians to live, play, and work. For example, I'll lower transit during off-peak hours, and I'll remove the requirement for business license. Thank you very much. October 18th, vote for me. Salamat.
Community activist and MLA and alderman for wards 3 and 4, and named one of Alberta's 50 most influential people by Venture magazine in 2005. Bob Hawksworth has been serving Calgarians and Albertans for over 30 years.
Good evening, everyone. Bob Hawksworth. Calgary is a special place for each and every one of us. It's one of the best, if not the best, city in Canada and the best country in the world. And Calgarians have to sometimes step back and remind ourselves what a wonderful and special privilege it is that we find ourselves living together in this community. I've always believed that blessings bring responsibilities. We have to wisely use the gifts, the talents, and opportunities we've been given. They're always entrusted to us for something greater than ourselves. And so when we think about the future of our city, we have to keep that framework very much in mind. Calgarians want us to attend to our economic prospects. We need a community focus to our economic development strategy. They want our city to be sustainable and move ahead on projects such as a Southeast LRT and bus rapid transit from downtown Calgary to the airport. They want to live in a safe community, so we need to build on the work we've done with the Canadian Coalition of Municipalities Against Racial Discrimination, for example, and on our programs of support through the FCSS, critical hours for our young people. And we also, our community also wants the city to have a strong and healthy balance sheet. That one of that principles is that we need adequate resources. And as president of the Alberta Urban Municipalities Association, I negotiated for $14 billion in infrastructure funding for Alberta municipalities. We also need to keep NMAX. The $50 million a year dividend we get from NMAX cuts our taxes by approximately 5%. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here and for your interest in this campaign, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Next candidate brings a combination of government and business knowledge to the panel. A three-term alderman for Ward 12 since 2001, Rick McIver has a background in business and as a small business owner.
Good evening. My name is Rick McIver, and I am asking for the privilege of being your mayor. I want you to know that things that are important to me, my vision for the city of Calgary is to make it the economic heart of Canada. And that should be important to you, and I believe it is important to you, because that is where the future is for our children and our grandchildren. We need to think long-term. We need to build Calgary's infrastructure. That is a key plank in what I want to do, and we've done some of that. We've built some roads, we've built some LRT, and we've done good things, but we need to do smart things. We need to add to the snow removal without making it too expensive for you to afford. We need to keep revitalizing the core. We need to build complete communities. Now that's a long-term thing. That will enable you to actually get to work without always having to go downtown or the airport or the east side. We need vibrant and safe communities. After a couple of years on the police commission, I think I know a little bit about that, and having helped author a couple of major reports on crime and public safety, which are available on my website, rickmciver.ca. And you know what? Part of that, those vibrant, safe communities, includes art, cultural, recreation facilities, because without those things, the jobs won't come here either. Businesses won't come here either. And that is what's going to make a difference to you, your children, and your grandchildren. We need to redefine the customer service culture at City Hall. You need to be able to get things done more easily, whether that's adding onto your deck, building a garage, or anything else. And we need a cost-competitive Calgary. We need to spend the money wisely, control the taxes, so that you can have your city can be affordable. And again, cost control, accountability, and transparency. These are the things that will get us a flourishing, competitive city that welcomes working people and all businesses. Salamat po.
Offering a balance of political and business experience. He was an alderman from 2001 to 2007, where he served as chair of audit and 6 years as police commissioner. Since 2007, Craig has been VP for a private equity firm focusing on corporate finance and governance for small and mid-sized businesses. Craig Burrows.
I knew I should have never took French in school, but my name's Craig Burrows, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. Growing up, one of my best friends, his name was Art Gatavis. Art was Filipino, and he was proud, and his family was proud of their heritage. And I got the opportunity as a young boy to be welcomed to someone else's home, to be part of their family. And when you have an opportunity to grow up in a diversified community, you don't see color, you see friends. Now, I moved to Calgary in 1993, a young man that was excited about moving to a great city, but I could have felt isolated because I was all alone. I went out here by myself, like many of you, I'm sure, came to Calgary. But I didn't feel alone because I met great people, and I was welcomed to a community that has given me so much. My point is this: all of us here have chosen Calgary as our home, whether you are a new Calgarian or a new Canadian. Our community will be enriched by new people and new cultures. We're becoming a true cosmopolitan city, and a city where we're all valued and equal. And it doesn't matter where you're born. All of us here tonight are citizens of a great city we all call home, called Calgary. As mayor, I will balance growth that is affordable and sustainable. You know, we don't talk about this in public places, but I tell you, I know we talk about this around the kitchen table. And that is, are we one paycheck, two paychecks away from paying the rent, the mortgage, or things for our children? I think it's very important as a city that we provide opportunities, that we ensure that not only ourselves, but our children and grandchildren can live in a great city that they can afford and to be sustainable. As mayor, we'll get back to basics. We'll provide fire and police, we'll plow your streets, and we'll provide you with safe, affordable, and sustainable transit. Thank you so much for having me here.
Born and raised in Calgary, he is MLA for Calgary Buffalo. He's a lawyer and one of Calgary Inc. magazine's top 40 under 40. He's been involved in the United Way, Downtown West Community Association, and the Canadian Paraplegic Association. He also worked on the city's advising committee on accessibility. Can I introduce Kent Hare?
Good evening, everyone. Como esta, my Filipino friends? My name is Kent Hare, and I was born in the Holy Cross Hospital and actually raised right here in Calgary. I had the opportunity to grow up playing in city parks, taking part in community rinks, and all that good stuff that made Calgary a great place to live. We have to ensure that that's here in the future for our children. A little bit of my background, I graduated from high school right here in Calgary, went to university, became a lawyer. I was a victim of crime here, but rebuilt my life and practiced law for a number of years, and now I've been the MLA for Calgary Buffalo for the last 3 years. But all that and $1.64 get you a cup of coffee at Tim Hortons. Here's what I want to do as your mayor. First off, I want to put 500 more police officers on the street in the next 6 years. Second off, we got to keep our major infrastructure going out to the suburbs so you too can take an LRT system into work. 3, we need smart growth, not to continue building out. We can't continue going out further. We have to build smartly so we have people living and working in our communities. 4th thing, we need a better deal from the provincial government. 50% of the property tax dollars you pay never come back to this city. They go out and they're dispersed in the hinterland. Yeah, that's great for our provincial government, but it's not good for you in this room. We need that money here to build our infrastructure, build our parks, build our rink systems, so you and your families have places to go and we have a vibrant place to live, not only now, but in the future. Those are 4 of the things I'd like to work on when I become your mayor. I tell you what, fiscal accountability is always a major hot button, and I tend to bring some accountability to City Hall as well. But it's an honor and privilege to be here tonight. Thanks to my Filipino Mafia for being here tonight. Give us a wave, people.
Time.
All right. But hey, let's have some fun. Take care.
Now we had one more candidate who obviously is in my hand. Is Paul Hughes here? Paul Hughes does not seem to be here, but he did confirm tonight, but maybe he will show up later on. We had Portia Wan and Ryan Perez go around and ask everyone what they thought the 3 top issues around the city are. Number 1, Calgary sustainable growth. Calgary reaching over 1 million people. How will the city continue to grow? How will we deal with urban sprawl? The second one is crime prevention. From the downtown core to the northeast corner and all other quadrants, what measures are you prepared to implement to make Calgarians safe? And the third one, which actually isn't a surprise to me, what do you think is the most significant challenges faced by Calgarians from immigrant backgrounds, particularly as they settle in the city? What you can answer as a mayor is what can these people do to overcome these challenges?
Sustainable growth in a sustainable city. That's one of the most important things we have to do as a city. Calgary has one of the largest environmental footprint in North America. We are far too big as we are. We have to use the planning system to get our city growing up and not out. Tell you what, I heard some people want to embrace the development community, and that's all fine and good, but the tail cannot wag the dog. City Hall has to plan things. City Hall has to set the direction for what our city needs. Tell you what, we need to develop communities that offer opportunities for all our citizens, but yet use our environment more reasonably. Use less water, use less land going forward. We have to live in these communities and have walkable, livable, transportation-friendly communities where we can all care, share, and play together. That's the first thing we can do. Tell you what, for immigrant communities coming to this city, here's one thing we can do to make it easier for you. Let's legalize secondary suites. That's one thing the City Hall can do that they haven't done, and yet they've said they were going to do something about this problem for the last 3 years. Legalizing secondary suites will allow our immigrant community cheaper housing, cheaper access to finding places to live, ability to buy a house and then possibly find a renter to help pay your mortgage. Tell you what, that will help new people coming to our to our community. Give them an opportunity to purchase a home. Another thing that's going to help our immigrant community, let's also get our LRT system going out as fast as we can. Public transportation is going to be very important for new people coming to our city, and I believe that has to go as quickly as can. Crime and safety, that's the last issue we're supposed to be talking about here, to tell you what. I was a victim of crime when I was 21 years old. I was shot in a drive-by shooting. I know how dangerous crime is and the effect it can have not only on my life, but the lives of my family. Okay? The mayor's job is to provide, the first job is to provide safe streets and a safe city. And I will take that to my office every day when I go to the mayor's job and understand that. I want to put 500 new police officers on the street in the next 6 years. Because guess what? Without a safe community, we don't have a community. And those are my priorities. Those are the things I'm going to do on those 3 issues. Probably going to do some more things, but tell you what, I'm up here under the glare of the lights, and we'll go from there. But that's a starting point, and thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to clear the issue on the immigrant background as far as what people are looking for. As I said, I moved here in '93 not knowing anyone. And it's so important to have culture background. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to help Alderman Chabot with the International Avenue Arts and Culture. It's so important in this community that we rally behind a place where we all can find a place that we can all meet as groups. So one thing I want to do is provide more facilities for you to meet and grow your culture. Second thing is kids. My parents had 5 kids. And my dad said, I know what kids are like. They're either going to throw rocks or you're going to throw balls. So I'd rather you go out and play sports than do something stupid like break windows. So a lot of these things happen. It comes down to people needed something for their kids to go to, something that's affordable. As mayor, I'm looking at indoor soccer facilities. We need some because our weather, as you can see, is not always the greatest. But that shouldn't be an excuse to get out and exercise. For sports in wintertime, making sure there's things for children to play so all year round they got a place to go and have fun. As you as parents know that they're supervised, they're safe, and you can do what you do best is raise your family and have a little bit of help. Now, affordable housing is a big issue. My plan is actually to take a little bit of money out of the assets. The city sits on over $1 billion of real estate assets. Sell a little bit off, put it into a little bit of a fund to help people do a bit of a subsidize to help them get through. I think a lot of us are like, you literally $200, $300 away a month from losing their house or renting. Some people don't have money for a deposit, security deposit. So what the city can do is help people give a hand up. At the same time, Calgarians don't, we all believe in, we work hard. So the issue that I would do is that we do like Habitat for Humanity. It's not free. You go back and volunteer. Volunteer in your local community. Volunteer at a local soup kitchen. Give back. And that's how we create the safe community that we all look after each other. Now, when it comes to crime, I'm someone who was a 6-year police commissioner. I'm the guy who brought you beat cops downtown. I'm the person who brought in the bad behavior bylaw to mitigate things when people fight in bars and terrible things that happen to Kent. I have 3 siblings who are police officers. 2 brothers, one in RCMP, a brother in OPP. My sister is in the London Police Service, who specializes in the domestic violence unit. And you can all talk about safe streets, but if you don't have safe homes, we have a problem. Sustainable growth, the bottom line is this: we can't continue to grow out. We need to work with our partners to provide water, sewer, and transportation for them. But at the same time we need to start looking at redeveloping inner city and existing communities so that we don't continue to build out. Thank you.
Go.
Go, he says. Go. Well, you know what? I've been going for 9 years. The things that we've been talking about tonight, actually, I've been walking the walk for 9 years, and I'm looking for permission to keep walking the walk on your behalf for another 3 as your mayor. On a sustainable city, on growth, yeah, we need to build up and out, but it's also one of the keys, and I mentioned it earlier, is building complete communities so you can live, work, and play in a smaller circle. And when you can do that, even if you take transit, it's a shorter transit route. If you drive, it's a shorter driving route. If you walk or ride your bicycle, that's a shorter trip. And either way, that requires less infrastructure. That's how we're going to catch up with infrastructure and make your city affordable and more livable for you and your family. Furthermore, we can all make more friends. We can all make more money. None of us can make more time. The biggest gift City Council can give you and your families is to make that trip to work and back shorter so that you have time to spend with your family. You have time to spend creating the quality of life that you want. And it starts with complete communities. Making Calgarians safe. Again, I've been walking the walk. I've been on the police commission for a couple of years. I've helped author a major report with the province and chaired the AUMA task force that actually gave the solution to provide those 500 police officers that the police chief wants over 6 years. It has to do with the per capita funding from the province. Sat down with the province, people from the Solicitor General's office, and they actually signed on to the report. Now, the province hasn't funded it yet, but I've been working on that solution for you already for a few years and not just talking about it recently. The other thing we need to do is we need to keep the people that work for the city safe that work for us. I also asked council to finance and pay for H2S training for the fire department, which was approved to keep them safe while they keep us safe. In supporting people with immigrant backgrounds. I can tell you what, as I sit on Jason Kenney's board, he's the immigration minister, and one thing that he's got a program doing now, it's moving settlement funds from other parts of Canada to Calgary, because immigrants come here, because immigrants are hardworking and they want a job, and they can get jobs in Calgary, and we need those settlement funds to move with them so that they have the support here. Otherwise, we trap them in a life of poverty. The way you get around that is providing those services for immigrants. I've also been active already on the Global Fest board, which is a One World Festival, bringing Calgarians together in Southeast Calgary, very near to here, so they introduce the rest of Calgary to Southeast Calgary, and to provide a forum where all cultures can meet, learn to appreciate each other, and be that part of this great city that they are. And I think the other thing, we need to make sure that the relationship between the police and immigrants are strong so that they understand each other and can be protected.
Time.
Thank you. Salamat po.
Engage.
Thank you very much. As far as the question around sustainable growth and what are we going to do to reduce Calgary's sprawl, we know the answers. We actually have the plans. We've been passing plans for some time, and we passed the new municipal development plan. Where these plans fall short is in the implementation. And that's where, when it came time to sort through the issues that came up as part of the plan process, I chaired the committee that created the implementation plan for implementing these great ideas that we have. That's where you need somebody who knows City Hall, who knows the stakeholders, who can get them around the table and sort out the issues. That's a core competence that your mayor has to have. And that's the kind of track record you don't hear a lot about. It doesn't make the news, but that's the kind of go-to guy I've been. In terms of crime prevention, we need to address primarily kids at risk. So we've got a great program in this city. I don't know, again, you probably haven't heard about it much unless you're involved with this Critical Hours project through the FCSS program. We're actually doing things to get kids, when they're not supervised by adults, into city programs, city recreation programs. Our recreation program is as much a crime prevention program and spending at the City of Calgary as our police department. And when you think of prevention, that's where you need to help our young people. And that's why I believe that recreation is as much a core responsibility of municipal government as fire and police and transit. And by the way, I'm the only one up here that voted for all those the budgets that put all those fire and police officers on the street. You can check the record. I'm the only one that's passed those budgets and voted for them. What are the most significant challenges you face? I don't know. I can't guess. I have to be honest with you. I'm not an immigrant. I haven't come here from another country. But I need to find out. And so last year, when I had some issues in my ward, when I needed to find something out, I convened a group of 200 people. We spent a day. We walked into the room with a blank sheet of paper, and said, tell me what we need to do to preserve and strengthen the quality of life in our community. There are all kinds of ways that we can more engage people in a more meaningful way so that they can express their experiences and give the kinds of directions to our city council. And I've got, again, something that I've done in my track record that I will bring into the office as your new mayor. Thank you.
Proceed.
Unlike Bob, I am an immigrant, so I've faced all the issues you faced. So one of the things I would do is there's a lot of pieces of land that the city owns that are for community purposes. I would allocate these pieces of land to communities so they can build their own facilities, a seniors housing, a cultural center, whatever they want. Let them fund it and do it themselves. Wouldn't you like to do that? As far as crime is concerned, I would be very transparent and tell the police, take away the revenue targets that they have. Let's stop pretending that at the end of the month, they don't stand there giving tickets to innocent citizens. Let them do what they're supposed to do, which is keep crime out. Let the police officers do that. We all know that. Let's be transparent. As far as sustainable growth is concerned, we need to go up, not wide. We need to create a transit system that is the transport of choice. When I lived in New York, I took the subway because it was convenient. You need somebody who's lived in Nairobi, in London, in Toronto, Vancouver, seen all these systems, traveled them. In Calgary, it just doesn't work. So when I'm mayor, I will look at all those things. How do you make crime go away? You allow restaurants to have patios. You have people on the streets. You have life. That's how you get rid of crime. It's not just by policing. There are many other ways. I've got another 1 minute and 30 seconds. I'm doing well. As far as immigrants, let's talk about that. Many Filipinos come here with qualifications which we cannot use. It's absolutely. It's a provincial and a federal issue. But at a city level, I am sure when I'm mayor, I'll find a way. I'm an entrepreneur. We find a solution. We need nurses. We need teachers. We need qualified people. And we have. Immigrants will come. We're qualified. We'll find a way. Because at the city level, we can. I will work with the unions. I will work with city employees. Last time when I ran, I was an entrepreneur, and the Fire Association endorsed me, and the Transit Union endorsed me. So my focus is I will have a union official at City Hall attend every council meeting so we can create efficiencies. Mercedes-Benz has 2 union officials on their board of directors. Why doesn't City Hall? We have 13,000 employees and they have no representation to create efficiencies. We have make work projects like business licenses. I will get rid of business licenses. Anyone know why a business needs a license? I don't. Why do we have dog licenses for a year? Why can't we have lifetime licenses? There's a whole bunch, 1,000 little things to do. Thank you very much.
Start.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think when we talk about sustainable growth, you have to recognize why we have that challenge today. And we have that challenge because wages were up here and land prices were down here. And what it meant was more Calgarians than ever before could get into a house. And that's where this challenge started from. And what it's going to take to change that is a number of different things. It's going to have to take changes in behavior. It's going to have to take nodes of density, not density all over the city. Because I've talked to community associations and that's not what they want. They want nodes of density. Nodes around like the university, around SAIT. And that's why I brought a notice of motion to look at secondary suites within 400 meters of a LRT station when it's near an educational center like the university and SAIT. And it's not about sustainable growth, ladies and gentlemen. It's about intelligent growth. And there's a big difference there. When we talk about crime prevention, there was a lot of talk about the budget. And people ask me when I'm out saying, well, where were you on the police budget? I'll tell you where I was on the police budget. Back 2 years ago, and some of my peers on council remember this, we made a promise to the police department. we told them, we are going to ensure that you have the same budget going forward for 3 years. We made a promise to them. And now 2 years in, we're breaking that promise. And it didn't sit well with me. And maybe I'm an exception because I'm keeping a promise with the police department. In fact, I went further to say, well, you know, we should look at the fire department. We should look at 911 dispatch, because if you have a fire, are you going to send 2 squad cars in the K-9 unit? You can't do that. And if you talk to people in the police department or in dispatch, they understand that. You need to lift the entire system up, the entire emergency dispatch. It's not just about one budget. So if we want to have a safe city, that's what's needed. I was also a big proponent about cameras in the downtown, and it went a long way to clean up the downtown. If anyone's been in the downtown recently, it's made a big difference. And also, we talked a little bit about critical hours. Well, if you look at the $8 million I got for the West Side Rec Center, that all went to a critical hours program. That went to expanding the West Side Rec Center in a fashion. Everything they're doing with that money is for youth, to keep our youth active. And that's why in my pamphlet, my first platform is we need to run the city, we need to build a great city for everyone, especially our children. Because you know what? Our children have gotten ripped off at the end of the day. We're behind in soccer fields. We're behind in ice rinks. We're behind in cultural facilities as well. With regards to your culture, 2 months ago, I spent several days with you. We raised the flag. I went to some of the Filipino celebrations, and I had a great time. And what you told me was you have concerns about housing, you have concerns about business taxes, you have concerns about transportation, but more than anything else, you have concerns about your kids. You want kids to have the same opportunities that you had when you came to Calgary, and I will guarantee that.
Times.
Thank you.
You've asked about sustainability, and I think that's a very important priority for Calgarians, because if we do keep growing out and out and out, there is no way we're going to be able to provide services on the outskirts. Everyone's calling for snow clearance on the side streets. There's no way we're going to get that if we keep spreading and creating more and more roads. Calgarians, you've already spoken out. Hundreds and hundreds of people were involved in the process of creating Planet Calgary. That document is already approved. Calgarians have said, we want a sustainable city. And what you said by that is you want transportation. You want it to be convenient. You're not going to park your car until it's convenient. We know that time is money. And if you're sitting on a bus for an hour that way and an hour back, that's not convenient. So we have to focus on transportation. We have to make an even playing field for people who want to develop the inner city as opposed to just urban sprawl. The process for the inner city development right now is so cumbersome that developers give up on it. There are a number of examples in the inner city where developers have walked away because we've made it easier for them to develop on the outskirts of the city. So we need to just carry out what you've already said that you want, which is all in the Planet document. And that, I think you just need a mayor who's going to believe in it and push it forward. As for the most significant challenge immigrants are facing, I'm lucky to have been born and raised in Canada, as were my parents, but my grandparents came to Canada. And our family talks a lot about the challenges that my grandmother faced when she landed on a boat on the East Coast, and how she slowly made her way to Winnipeg, and then my family slowly made its way to Alberta. And so I think that everyone can understand that when you come to a new place, whether it's a new country or a new city, what you want is meaningful work. You want to be paid well to be able to sustain your family. You want to be able to find an affordable home, and you want to fit in. You want to know that you belong. And so I think that supporting secondary housing is very important. We need to get affordable homes for people, absolutely. And we need to be able to support small and big business so that people have work. It's hard to do anything if you're looking for a job. And finally, on crime prevention, I had a really good meeting with Chief Rick Hansen, and I asked him, other than money, what do you need from the city, other than money? And he said, work with the agencies, work with the nonprofit agencies, so that kids have a place to go.
Wow, I mean, we've heard a lot of really good ideas here tonight, and I can't speak for Wayne. I can't tell you what he would say, and I can't speak for myself. The only thing I can tell you is that of all of the ideas that have been introduced, Wayne has spoken of. But he says, clearly, it's time to just stop talking about it. It's time to do it. Wayne led the charge on secondary suites. He made a presentation to council. He got social agencies involved and agreeing. He got the Chamber of Commerce to agree on that position paper. He's a man of action. He says, do it. We've talked about it long enough. Let's make things happen in this city.
Well, thank you. As I mentioned, my platform was triple E: efficient, effective, ethical. And I'm going to add one more right now called experience. Because when it comes to working on these issues, no other candidate actually has my experience and track record. And when people talk about walking the walk, walking the talk, I was doing it long before they were. So on these issues, let's talk about urban sprawl, efficiency. What we're really discussing is smart growth, so that we don't waste your tax dollars and we don't waste city resources. But when we talk about smart growth, I don't think everyone wants to live in a high-rise apartment building. I think some of you might like a house with a backyard where you can barbecue. So we need choices. We need to be smart about how we deliver city services. We need to be smart about how we build. But we certainly want some choices. And that's effectiveness. Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is making sure that we're doing the right things and not forcing all of you to live in high-rise apartment buildings. So when we talk about crime, well, what I worked on that for many years is that crime prevention is very important, community policing is very important. I remember working with Chief Silverberg very closely and trying to come up with ideas to help on how we're going to prevent crime. But the police are not the only answers. The social agencies, homelessness, poverty, all of those other people that are working on this, and you'll find that much crime is related to drug addiction. So I did a lot of work on drug addiction. I did a lot of work on mental issues because at least a third of the people in our homeless foundation, or in our homeless shelters, also have some mental challenges. I served nearly 3 years on the Homeless Foundation. While I was there, I said, will you back me to get secondary suites legalized in the province of Alberta? Because I was a provincial MLA, I fought for and got a provincial committee, which I chaired, to travel this province and get basement suites legalized across Alberta, and we were successful in doing that everywhere except the city of Calgary. So I was on the Homeless Foundation before Mr. Stewart, and that was my initiative. In terms of challenges that people are facing, when you're new to the country, well, there are many, and I think Alderman Hawksworth is accurate when he says we don't know them all. But one of them is jobs, employment, and finding enough income so that you're financially secure. My platform includes doubling, setting a goal of doubling the success rate of small businesses in this city, the startup rate of small businesses. It's very important, and with 30 years experience as an entrepreneur, I think I know how to do that. I'd appreciate your support on October 18th. Thank you.
It all sounds great, right? Every one of them has said things that we really want to have happen at the city. But I think what we need to do is we need to understand who can actually make that happen. And in order to understand that, we have to look at the track record of these folks on each of these things. So the first one is sustainability. Sustainability is, of course, the first theme of my campaign. Recent research shows that every new house built at the fringes of the city costs $10,000 more just in water and sewer infrastructure than we ever get back from the taxes on that house. That happened under the watch of Alderman Burrows, Alderman Connolly, Alderman McIver, Alderman Hawksworth, and indeed Alderman Lord. And in fact, if we really look at the record, we see that there's not much difference between Alderman Hawksworth, Alderman Connolly, and Alderman McIver on this one. All three of them voted for a last-minute deal with wealthy developers to gut Planet, which will increase our taxes by $2 billion. They all voted for it. All 3 of them voted for the $3 park and ride fee, which reduced ridership on our transit system. All of them did it. So the question is, how do they stand here now and talk about complete communities and these things that are important to them in sustainability when in fact their record on council completely belies that? Even Ms. Higgins in her proposal today suggests we need a new plan with developers. She wants to throw out Planet in her writing, though she defends it here in person. When she wrote on her website, she wants to throw it out and start all over again with the wealthy developers. And that's not really a way that we can get to a sustainable world. Hopefully she read what she put on her website, because that's what it says. Now, in terms of sustainability, there's many things we can do. I encourage you to look at my website. I wrote a book on the topic back in 2001, and we talk a lot about the simple things we can do to build smart growth and smart communities. That's the difference between me and them, is that I actually have an idea of how to do it, and there's some very detailed policies on how to make it happen. Crime prevention. I don't need to tell anybody in this room about the importance of safety. The tragedy of Arceli Leogan is something that cut the heart out of this community. And it's something that we need to work on from a prevention side, from a policing side, from dealing with youth crime and issues. It has to be a holistic view. Simply saying, oh, let's hire 500 more police officers where we have no idea where that number comes from, doesn't answer the question. What does answer the question is a holistic view on safety. And finally, challenges as faced by immigrants. Not just challenges, but opportunities, right? We have a lot of poverty in the immigrant communities, but very little homelessness. The city can learn from us. But we do need to work on issues like transit, housing, second language training, integration, in order to make communities feel, immigrant communities feel like part of what we do here. And in your own community, you've got 2 great heroes in this room who do that work every day, Mary Chu and Cesar, and I applaud them for that. All of us need to work together in order to build that kind of Calgary where all immigrants can succeed, as can everyone else. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you, all the candidates. On behalf of myself, Mabuhay, the Filipino community, even the candidates, I encourage everyone to go out on October 18th and vote. Make your voice be heard. I know probably on behalf of the candidates, we still have more than 2 months left to go in this election. So I know they will be out, and if you guys have any questions, they're more than willing to answer them on their websites, on their Twitter accounts, on their emails. All the information is out there. Just look it up on the website. Thank again all the candidates for coming out. I really appreciate you taking the time. It shows a great respect for the Filipino community. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We can still have photo opportunities here at the front if you wish. We'll clear out the tables and the chairs, and if the candidates are willing to stay, feel free to ask them any questions.